I do revise quite a bit, I think, because well, it depends, I guess. I'll have, like I said, I'll usually start with an improvisation. So I'll be at the piano. Sometimes I'll even record myself with that idea, but usually what happens is I can isolate, or I can sort of decide what musical idea I'm really interested in, and then just kind of latch onto that and build the idea. And then move to usually the computer, which is, I think pretty much every composer now has multiple drafts because they're using the computer. The computer allows you so much freedom. You don't have to be tied to one particular way of composing. It's a weird question, actually, because you look at Brahms or Beethoven especially, we have all the drafts. We can see all the drafts. We can see his thought process. But now I don't think we can see any composer's thought process because the same file is just saved over. The programs are now saving different versions now, starting, but it'd be very interesting to see how much of the creative process is actually preserved in the future, because these software programs are just rewriting over the same file. The composers are revised, I think, a lot more maybe than they used to.
I think it's few people can be Mozart.
Exactly, that's right. Mozart seems to be the only composer that stands out that we know just either had some drafts, maybe a few drafts, or no drafts at all. It just came out perfect. And I don't discount. There could be pop stars who say the same thing about their songs. It just sort of happened. It's like an accident. The piece was an accident in a way. They didn't think about it. It just sort of came out the way that it did, and it's a hit. Everybody loves it, or it's a great song. So you just never know. But yeah, Mozart in classical music really stands out as one of the few exceptions where, there's no drafts, but the music is all good. We have other composers that didn't have drafts, but the music isn't always all good. Like, they should have probably gone back and done a second or third draft. But with Mozart, it's just all perfection. It's like it just came out of him very naturally. Well, like you said, I think it's eclectic. It can come from different perspectives, different influences. I have always been interested in folk music. I have a sort of international background. I lived in Europe and the Middle East as a child, and I listened to a lot of different kinds of music when I was a kid. I think Middle Eastern music, strangely enough, I find kind of has an influence. A lot of Middle Eastern music is focused around one note, one frequency, and it's just elaborations, decorations of one frequency. And a lot of my music works that way. Not intentionally, but I think it's because I probably listened to a lot of it when I was very young. So that's probably the closest answer I could give. Other than that, I really, like I said, it just depends on the piece. I've been very influenced also by American popular music to some extent. But I'm also very much connected to the tradition as a pianist. I learned my Mozart, Bach, Brahms, and I love those pieces too. And I always sort of strive for my pieces to kind of maybe fit within that sense of sort of tradition. Obviously not to say that they're as good as them, but to say that there's something that you feel in the piece that connects you to that tradition, even if I'm trying something different. Especially, I think in having been educated in the U.S., I think the understanding of music from Asia is still, I think, limited. It's more limited than I think it should be. But when being here, being in Hong Kong, being exposed to all the different styles and sounds, instruments, traditions, it is really exciting. I have written one piece that was directly inspired by Hong Kong that has some flavor of that, some element of that. Whenever I do that, though, I'm always very cautious not to imitate a style. It's more about sort of taking some element of it and then making it my own. That's always my goal. I never try to particularly kind of imitate something, because why would you listen to my piece then? You know, go and listen to the original thing. My piece or any composer's piece has to be something new or something interesting, something different than what's out there. So that's the way I think about it. You're listening to these new sounds, you know, that are around you, but you're not trying to imitate them either. So you have to find the balance. Well, no, I mean, I think that's the thing. I don't think there is a right answer. I think, to me, actually, music is interesting because as a composer and having that engineer mind as well, music is this highly organized form of communication. It has structure, and we don't even know it, but it's there. And if it wasn't there, we would know it. So I think we unconsciously sort of sense that. But at the same time, music is also very primitive. It's about sound. It's, you know, you hear a loud alarm, you know something bad is about to happen, right? You know, so you hear the same sound in a piece of music, your body automatically thinks, oh no, is there an emergency? And you may not even expect to hear that in the piece. So I think our bodies already sort of naturally react to sounds, rhythms. When you put that together with a structure, now you've got this kind of art form that is this duality between structure, organization, and then this kind of primitive sort of you know, reaction, intuitive reaction to something. So you're thinking about it, you're trying to organize it in your mind, but at the same time you're having this intuitive reaction, emotional reaction too. And the fact that that's happening simultaneously, I think is actually what makes music so powerful. It's that we don't even know what's happening to us as we listen to it. We think of music as even something that can sort of make us do something we don't want to do. And I think that might be wise because of this weird duality. And, you know, it's funny to think of, but, you know, that's why when you go into a club or you go into church, you know, the music makes you fit that particular context. It just does it automatically, intuitively, without even your knowing it. And I think that's an amazing power to be able to say that an art form can do that. You know, I mean, I think writing is important too, visual arts. But I think with music, there's something really active about it. You know, it grabs hold of you in a way that other art forms can't.
Yeah,
that's the answer.
And then I think beyond that, you can find the logic, how it works.
Yeah, it's both. I mean, you know, these great, like with Beethoven, this is a discussion that musicians have all the time. You know, you can sit and analyze the Beethoven Symphony to death. I mean, it's all there, all the patterns, this sort of beautiful logic and symmetry is all there. But that's not the only thing that's there. There's also the excitement. There's the passion. If you don't have one without the other, then what have you got? You know, and there are some composers who want to be one without the other, and that's why those pieces, I think, last so long, is that people can clue into that. They can hear the logic unconsciously, but they can also clue into the passion. They can link into the passion as well. So it's all working on multiple levels. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that, I guess, would be my definition of beauty in a way, I guess, would be this clash, this duality is the beauty. You know, in German romantic, you know, sort of lingo or vocabulary, beauty would be something where you feel two different opposite emotions at the same time. It's called the sublime. So you feel sad and happy together at the same time. And that was beauty. So maybe in the sense it is kind of like an old-fashioned German romantic way of thinking about it. Creativity helps you to understand, first of all, the importance of failure, interestingly enough. We fail all the time in music. You know, when you think about those drafts of Beethoven, those are failures, one after the other. But he gets there. He gets to these masterpieces that they'll never die. Nobody will stop playing those pieces. They really are that important to us, you know, to everybody in the world. So you just keep trying to achieve your goal. I think that's something that's what's great about thinking about creativity in that way, is that you don't have to be right. first time. You allow yourself to be wrong, learn from your mistakes, or learn from a failure, let's call it, and then move on from there. I think there's something liberating about that. There's also what's exciting about creativity is that there's no right or wrong answer. And I think a student can be challenged by that. I think especially a student who's had the science, technology, education background, where there is always a yes or no, right or wrong, kind of an answer to a question. Whereas in music or creative arts, there is none. And I think that really challenges someone to think differently about a problem outside of creative arts too. That's part of it. So technically my title is composer in residence here at UST. I'm a visiting associate professor. As part of that role, I teach my courses, but I also coordinate all of our music curriculum. I work with Professor Sheng to sort of in the daily, day-to-day running of music courses. That's now been expanded to other creative arts courses as well. I also assist in running of literature creative writing and to some extent visual arts, which we're developing. All of this is moving towards establishing a Center for Creative Arts Education, which I'm involved in developing, so that students in the future at UST will be able to have a minor in music is our goal, so that students can do even more higher level learning in creative arts. The Associate Artistic Director position in Music Alive is really exciting because it also allows, it's a part of that role, which is bringing music to UST, bringing great artists to UST, showcasing the arts to others outside of UST. You know, when we started in 2010, many people didn't know there was an arts program at UST, and I think our initiatives have really helped to get people to learn about that. And then I'm also our Associate Artistic Director of the Intimacy of Creativity, which is the centerpiece of the initiative, which is really, in a short time, we really developed such a really great, I think really something really important for the university, for students to be a part of, and also, again, help to make USC something very desirable for artists to come and to practice. Yeah, I mean, that's, and as a result of this integration of our efforts, I think, to some part, the Chen Yutong building, LTL, technically called the CMA Lecture Theater, is a great addition to the university, this multi-purpose space that allows you to offer a lecture and also to do a concert. And then we're very excited about the multi-purpose auditorium that will be built hopefully by 2019. I'm together with Professor Sheng and my other arts colleagues were on the planning committee for that venue, so we got a chance to see different architects' perspectives, ideas for the building, and help select an architect. So it's been really exciting to be a part of all of that.
Yeah, it seems that your job is still kind of related to engineering.
Yeah, I know, in a way. I was actually looking at some designs for the building the other day, and so yeah, you have to know how to make heads or tails of it, because it's important. I think it's important for the university to know how the building works, especially when it comes to acoustics. I think as a musician, that's our biggest concern, is that the hall have a good sound, so that when students perform there, it makes, it's a good sounding hall. I think we're hoping also that this is a good addition to the Hong Kong music landscape. Other artists from Hong Kong will come to perform here. Other artists from around the world will come to perform as well. So I think that's what we're very much about going to do. It's going to be really exciting. It's a science. It is really, and it's very much a specific science. It's modeled in computers. I mean, it's amazing how much detail the acoustics, the science of acoustics can get into nowadays. And music business too. We've actually had UST students go on to study music business school students who brought together their two interests and there's some great programs that they were able to get into and take advantage of. So there are many different ways to make music and the creative arts a part of your life, even if it's not going to be your primary you know, your primary career choice. But even as an amateur, just continuing to play an instrument, you know, just somehow it be part of your life, I think is enriching.